Thank you for listening to Waywut. We really appreciate it. Remember that we post episodes every Tuesday and would love for you to rate us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or Pandora. If you are watching us on YouTube, throw us a comment, subscribe, and do all the other things that YouTube likes for you to do. You can stalk us on Facebook and X/Twitter with the handle Waywut Podcast. Once again, thank you for hanging out with us for a little bit, and join us next time when we'll get you to say, "Wait, what?"
Why, hello there. Welcome to the next and newest episode of Waywut. Today I am
What if
your
you're listening
host.
to things out of order?
Well, just welcome to a new category for you to listen to. A new episode, one you
A
have not
different
heard before.
episode?
A different episode, the
What if?
next
Because I was
one.
gonna say, what if they heard it before?
Well, I don't know. Thank you for re-listening.
What if they're a first-time listener? I'll just
And
say
they
it.
wouldn't have heard it before.
Just whatever. You word it however you want. It's your show today. Whatever.
What is your shirt? What is that? Joe Bob?
Yeah.
Joe Bob what?
Joe Bob
what?
Briggs.
Oh, yeah.
It's like
Is
the
that a show
best
you went to not
horror
too long
movie
ago?
guy ever. Yeah.
Very
He
good.
was super nice.
He must have given you that shirt.
No, I bought this one online. You gotta buy something from his table to get the selfie and stuff, which I totally did, and it was worth it.
Well, yeah, as you should. Well, today's episode, I want to talk a little bit about being a parent and and not necessarily being old, but our kids, and what joy they can bring us at times, and the sense of pride they can bring us. Such as, when they were in elementary school, they bring home an awesome looking coloring. What's the first thing you would do?
Oh, that's
Pop
so
that
good! Oh,
Oh yeah, you lie to them and tell them it's so great, and
is
then you,
that me? No, that's a car. Okay,
oh yeah,
it's a
why
good
am I
car.
green? Well, what first thing you would do? You pop that sucker up on the refrigerator, and you're just beaming with pride. When they bring home their report card. Well, I don't know if they bring home report cards anymore, but when we used to bring home report cards, our parents would beam with pride most of the time. And what would they do? They'd put it up on the refrigerator.
They did that?
Well, I mean, it's just the
I
thing that
guess
you
my
would do.
parents didn't love me.
Or you would bring home a good grade when you
I'm
see it
just
on
kidding, Mom.
movies.
If you're finally listening to this. All right, anyway, go ahead.
You would see it on movies or TV shows where they would get an A+ on their essay, and parents would be so proud they would just put it up on the refrigerator just so everybody can see it.
Mm-hmm. Curious where this is going.
Well, I mean, I have a whole tote of things from my kids' youth where I kept for them because of feeling proud for them. Keeping their baseball uniforms. Keeping their old school work that they can someday look back at and realize how dumb they were. Just anything that they brought home from school, I would keep. And I have a tote for all the kids when they eventually are old enough. I'm going to give it to them and they go relive their childhood.
Isn't Joseph old enough now? He's like about to get married.
True, but they're not that old. I mean, they've only been out of high school for 4 years or so. So wait till they have their own place.
Baby.
But with all that sense of pride and all that joy and happiness your kids bring you, there's the other half. It's the maddening stress that each kid can bring you. It's how pissed off each kid can make you. Would you agree with any of that?
No, my children were all angels and did nothing wrong. I don't know what kind of monsters you raised.
No, as sweet and as nice they can be, they could do something so stupid we cannot believe that you had a part in making them. I mean, I'm being a little harsh on them, of course, but I'm just trying to make a point where, as no matter how bad they were at some points, it could have always been worse.
Yes, I would agree with that because there are certain people I remember us going to school with. Whenever I look back at them now, I'm like, I wonder if they're in prison yet. And in some cases, they are.
Yes, when you see a kid acting the way certain kids act, you know how their future more than likely is going to turn up.
Yeah.
Sometimes it surprises you, but sometimes they're exactly what they're exactly where they should have been, or
Yeah.
exactly where they should be.
No, you're, yeah, that's pretty much exactly right. Yeah. It's like,
So to make me feel better about being a parent and sometimes my kids being the little shits that they can be, I wanted to look up how bad it could be.
oh boy.
So I came across some very young criminals through our time, and I would like to share them with you today.
Like the little boy in Robocop 2.
Yes, I haven't seen RoboCop 2, but you said little boy, so
You haven't seen Robocop 2?
no, I haven't seen RoboCop 1.
That is like one of the best movies ever. It was
I
filmed
filmed
in
in Dallas.
Dallas.
I know
You
I'm not a very good Texan when it
you
comes to that.
bastard.
I
I'm going to
don't know
cancel
what
this
to tell you.
podcast until you watch RoboCop. I mean, it's got Red Foreman in it
I'm just
as a
gonna let it.
bad guy.
Ooh, I've seen him play a racist guy before
He is the
in a
best
movie.
bad guy.
He is.
You make me
Yeah,
sick. You
I'm
make
sorry.
me sick.
I didn't
I'm
mean to
ashamed to call
disappoint
you
you.
a friend. You know, whenever we were in Louisiana this past weekend, if I'd have known that, we would have left the casino early, just
Just to watch
in my
RoboCop.
hot streak, just to make you watch RoboCop.
Now, nothing
I
could
would
have
have
made us
more. I
leave
would
during
have
that.
more money right now if I'd have known this.
Well, you make a good point, but there is no way we were going to leave that casino on that streak you were on, and
Just
there was not a chance. I don't
stop
care.
changing the subject.
You changed it. You said
No, I brought
casino.
it up to make a point that there's a monetary value to the importance of seeing RoboCop, and it exceeded the amount of money that I was winning at that time.
Well, do you want to hear something else? I haven't really seen all of Die Hard either.
The first one? God, I hate you.
Very. I've tried watching it so many times, but it not that I've tried turning it on, but when I try to go look for it to watch, it's not on anything to watch.
Stop talking to me. Just stop. Talk about evil children.
I didn't mean to disappoint
Maybe
you.
I can find one that'll be a better best friend.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. These kids, some of them turned out to be okay. Some of them did not turn out to be okay. For instance, number one on the list. We're going to start way back in his year of birth of 1882.
Okay.
The name of Anton Wood. This little boy was at the age of 10 years old when he committed the crime of murder.
Okay.
The, the story goes he was on the second day of November in 1892.
Mm-hmm.
Anton Woods was showing a businessman by the name of Joseph Smith a hunting ground. He was just showing him around the hunting ground, showing him where to hunt. On the way to the hunting ground, the boy noticed that the man had on a gold watch and a gun. He wanted said gold watch and gun. So he got behind Mr. Joseph Smith and shot him. Shot him dead.
Pretty
Uh,
straight to the point.
he wanted something and he took it,
Yeah.
just like you were referenced earlier in an earlier episode. During the trial, he was described as a pleasant faced, bright boy with blue eyes, golden hair, and with unusual intelligence and no sense of remorse. He did not feel like he did anything wrong. During the trial, he said he would kill anyone to get what he wanted.
Okay, that's a red flag of like, okay, somebody doesn't need to be walking the streets. All right, but this
Yeah.
being 1892, I'm hoping this story ends with, and then they hung him.
No, he was sentenced to 25 years in prison at the Colorado State Penitentiary,
Oh, Sim. Okay.
becoming the youngest prisoner to serve time there. During his time there, since he was very intelligent, he had a private tutor and he mastered college mathematics in 1 year. Became a skilled violinist, a talented artist, and even one of his paintings was displayed at the World's Fair in St. Louis in 1904.
Okay.
Uh,
I'm really
he was
kind of curious
actually
where this is headed. So,
well.
so
No, as a, he served his time. He got out. He was done.
that's it. He was a
That's
one
it.
and done killer. He just
One and done killer. His only victim was the one guy. But the problem was him showing no remorse and
oh, that's a big deal. I mean, yeah, not show remorse. I mean, that's that's a bit shocking. I mean, wow, and he just never did anything again. Huh.
nope.
You
I
know,
guess
I've actually come across that because usually like, oh, if they did this, surely it wasn't just the one time. One of the things that they found with a lot of the DNA stuff, where they're cracking these really old cases, is that they're not finding these people involved in any other cases. There's like all these like random dudes that like when they're 21 or 24 or 25, sometimes in their 30s, just straight up rape and murder somebody. And you're like, huh, whew, got that out of my system. Ah, all right, cool. I'm going to just go on with the rest of my life like nothing happened.
well. So you think they're just doing it to get it out of their system and
No, I mean, I think it's just there's some people that's just got some sort of something wrong with
went
them.
a little too far?
No, I mean, no, there's just something wrong with them. They're broken on the inside. I mean, you got to be broken on the inside to do that. I mean, I get killing somebody if you're trying to hurt somebody that you love or something like that, or your life's in danger. But whenever it's like, hey, that girl's pretty and I don't think she likes me, that's you got to have something messed up in you. I don't know how they handle living with that or whatever afterwards, but I just think it's kind of like weird that they're this bunch of people that they keep like snatching, where it's just like they did it one time and then that was it. And it's like that's weird. Could be compartmentalization. They could have been possessed by a demon. I don't know. I mean, I would still stand by my thing of like kill them, but whatever.
Well, I'm not sure what you're going to think about this
Oh boy.
uh, next girl. Her name was Alyssa Bustamante. She was the age of 15 when she committed her murder, where she lured her 9-year-old neighbor into her house, who she stabbed, strangled, and slit the throat with a kitchen knife, and then dumped the body in a shallow grave. What made the She pleaded guilty, but what came out during the trial is what made this murder even darker.
Okay.
They found her diary or her journal in her room, and of the day of the murder, she wrote this: "I just fucking killed someone. I strangled them and slit their throat and stabbed them. Now they're dead. I don't know how to feel at the moment." She later added, "It was amazing. As soon as you get over the OMG moment, it's pretty enjoyable. I'm kind of nervous and shaky, even, even though I'm kind of nervous and shaky though right now. Okay, gotta go to church. LOL." Yeah, LOL.
When was this one?
This was in 2009.
2009. All right. Um, so it means she probably got tried as an adult. At least I hope
She
so.
got tried as an
What's
adult.
what state is this in?
Colorado.
God,
No,
what
excuse me,
is?
not Colorado. Missouri. Missouri.
Okay, definitely
She
would have gotten tried
currently,
as an adult.
yes, uh, she is currently serving a life sentence with the possibility of parole this year.
Any uh thing? Wow, the only like that's 15 years, and now she's already eligible for parole on a life sentence.
Yeah,
Get your life right, Missouri. All right.
right.
Did she ever come out with a reason of like why? I mean, like, did the 9-year-old piss her off? Was just
She just had the feeling of wanting to do it, and she did it.
Okay, yeah, they need to bury that bitch under the prison.
Well, what also was chilling about it too is later on they found other graves at her house that was shown to be for her brothers.
Like so she was planning on
Like she
doing
was
more.
planning on doing it again, so she already had the graves dug for her younger brothers, but
Dang.
she did end up killing them because they caught her
Let's
before she
see.
could do anything else.
15 years. I'm guessing her trial and stuff, by the time it was done, she was probably 16, but they might give her time served also on that. So she's going to be like 30, 31 if she was to get out this year.
Hopefully she won't get out
No, that's
because,
too much life ahead of her. No, no, no,
yeah,
no. No,
yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't be so opposed to it if she's like too old to enjoy anything. And it's like, yeah, you're out of prison, and they throw her in a nursing home, and all she does is get to see other people that like live these fulfilling lives. But yeah, no, they need to keep her ass in there.
yeah. She ain't getting out. She shouldn't get out. Once again, she hasn't shown any kind of remorse, and she probably would do it again because it was amazing.
Was there anything like from her mom? Any kind of quotes that
Yes,
you
her
found?
mom disowned her because she was an evil monster.
Good job, Mama.
Yeah, yep. Next one is Jasmine Richardson. She was the age of 12 when she committed her murders. There were three of them. She killed both of her parents and her 8-year-old brother. The reason she killed her family was because her parents disapproved of her relationship with a 23-year-old man by the name of Jeremy Stinky.
I think I know this one. This is Canadian, isn't it?
Yes,
All right, yeah, I know this
yes.
one.
And he was actually claimed to be a 300-year-old werewolf. Just ridiculous.
I will tell you, as a true crime, fan, where I know I get to hear about a lot of watched a lot of things and listened to a lot of things about a lot of cases. Anytime it's a Canadian case, I am always left so much angrier because the Canadian justice system, and we don't have any Canadian listeners yet, but once we do, your justice system is fucked.
Yeah, it's pretty flawed. She only had to serve 10 years in prison, and she is currently out. She's out.
Yeah,
In 2016, her sentence was completed, and she was released with no court restrictions.
I hate Canada. I hate Canadian criminal justice. I'll put it that way.
On the other hand, Stinky, or Stinky, however you want to say his name,
It's
received,
I think it's
how do you say
stinky.
it?
I think it is stinky.
It's spelled like Stinky.
You know
I'm going
what?
to
It
pronounce
deserves
it
to be
Stinky.
called stinky. He's a piece
Yeah,
of
it's
crap.
Stinky. It's Stinky from here on out. He received life without parole, or he received life with parole possible after 25 years.
Hmm. Well, at least
Once
he's
again,
getting.
you murdered 3 kids, or you murdered 2 kids, or 2 parents. You murder a family, and all you get is possibility of parole in 25 years,
So,
and
I
she only
mean,
gets 10 years.
you have to look at the plus side that at least he's having sex with people his age now, in
True.
prison,
He may not want to be having sex.
but he is.
He
Uh,
is.
but no, Canadian justice is absolutely terrible. I mean, they are super lenient on their sentencing. There are so
Mhm.
many people that just like get out. Did you ever hear about? And I don't think we'll ever go over this case because it's too famous and stuff. But the Chinese Canadian guy that was on the bus, and he cuts the head off of a dude that's just sitting next to him on the bus. No provocation. He was schizophrenic or whatever. Cuts this dude's head off. Just straight up cuts it off. Sitting there, like, starts eating pieces of it. It's like showing it to everybody. He's all proud of it. Eventually, the cops get him. They throw him in. They throw him in jail. They do the trial, and they're like, "This poor man's insane." And so
You think?
they put him into like a mental hospital. That within like a handful of years, they already had him doing like unsupervised where he could leave and go out. And now he's completely done with the hospital part, and they've given him a new name and a new identity and just set him off into Canada.
Wow, that's one of my other cases. They also give them a new identity just so they can continue to live their lives without any kind of people following them or
I think I can already ruin
harassing
that
them.
one. I think I know which one that one is too.
I hope not.
All right,
Uh,
but if you ever truly want to be angry with the Canadian justice system, there's a documentary called Dear Zachary. It is one of the best documentaries I've ever seen. I will never ever watch it again, and it is one of the most gut wrenching things I've ever watched in my entire life, and it made me just absolutely hate the Canadian justice system. So yeah, they suck. It's one of those things. It's like if you're going to be a murderer, go to Canada and kill somebody because it ain't that bad. You'll be all right.
Stick to hockey. Right, number four, Craig Price. He
Okay.
was the age of 13 through the ages of 15 when he committed his murders of four people.
What? So he's a serial killer.
He's a serial killer. The first one he killed was a jogger that he followed, and he just uh, I'm not exactly sure how he killed her on that one, but he killed four of them. He was known as the Warwick Slasher. Uh, he was so violent that he led the Rhode Island state law to be changed so the juveniles could be tried as an adult. Because during his initial incarceration, he killed another inmate. So they
Did
totally
they
rewrote the law
did they rewrite the law before he killed that inmate or after?
after.
God dang it! I mean, it's like seriously, you had like this like juvenile serial killer, and you didn't think before then because like anytime you break a law, you can't get tried for breaking a law before it's
Right.
there.
Because he was tried as a juvenile. Under the law, he would be released at 21 and his records would be sealed. But during his incarceration and his violent tendencies and him killing another inmate, they changed the law so he can be tried as an adult. He is now serving an additional 10 to 25 years. He got added on an additional 10 to 25 years and he's still incarcerated.
This is one of those times when people are like, the death penalty is wrong. I'm like, seriously, for this guy? I mean, this is one
Yeah,
of those
when he's
people
getting,
that
not getting better. Yeah.
he's just made wrong. He is made
Yeah.
wrong. I mean, I get that there are certain people in certain situations, albeit rare, where you know this is not a
Rehabilitation works.
suitable punishment. But I don't know. I don't. I'm not just huge. You rehabilitate car thieves and drug dealers and uh, burglars and things like that. You rehabilitate those people.
Well,
Murderers and
speaking of
rapists,
rehabilitation, well,
no.
this one is a feel good story, if you
Oh
will,
dear God!
of of rehabilitation where it could possibly have actually worked.
All right,
I'm
let's hear it.
talking about
Convince me.
Mary Bell. She was the age of 11 when she committed her murders. She was one of the most infamous killers in the UK. She was dubbed the tie-knot strangler based on her strangulation when she would kill. What she would do before killing her victims is she would tell them that they had a sore throat and they needed a massage. So she would start massaging their throats and then she would just start strangling them until
Was
they're
she
dead.
killing like kids smaller than her?
Yes.
Okay, I was about to
Uh,
say because if an 11-year-old girl starts choking me, I'm just gonna punch her in the nose. It'll be okay.
During trial, they deemed she was unfit to serve trial because of her extensive physical and sexual abuse as a child, and she was deemed mentally incapable of standing trial.
Okay,
She went under intense rehabilitation, and a decade later, she was released. And in fact, and she had a daughter. Uh, she was granted a lifelong court order giving her anonymity used to protect the identity of her and her daughter and her granddaughter.
that's it.
That's it. So she committed major murders when she was 11.
You said
She
four,
was
right?
uh, two, two
Two.
people, and she was deemed unfit to stand trial. She was deemed a psychopathic personality disorder. She was let go, and then she had a normal life.
I don't care. I mean, I really don't, because there's still two kids that didn't get to grow up,
Agreed.
and it's like I mean, good for you, that you got to stay alive and do these things. No, you just I mean, imagine this, that somebody's like, you're cancer, don't worry, we're going to talk to it, and we're going to work with it and try to make it start dividing cells the correct way, and that way it'll be all right. No, you cut that shit out, you chop it out, and then you blast everything around it. But I mean, we don't really get to do that part, we're not fucking Nazis or nothing. But I don't care that she didn't ever kill anybody ever again. uh I don't care if if her great granddaughter someday cures cancer, because somebody else's great granddaughter would probably do that too. That they should have put that bitch on ice, and I stand by that. That is,
If it would have happened back in the day where, like you said, an eye for an eye, the punishment fits the crime, then she would have been strung up or executed in some way.
I mean, I get that she probably came from some horrific situation. All right, that sucks. But you know what you do? You take her testimony, and then you arrest the people that did the horrific things to her, and then you execute her ass because she's already broken.
Yes, because the tendency or the likelihood of her do something like that again
Do you
is greater.
do you think the parents of like the dead kids are all like, "Oh, thank God she's doing better"? Oh, I was really worried about her. No,
Mm-mm.
it's all right. I think this is the thing that people really do forget a lot of times, because they keep trying to think on these grand moral scales. I look at things along the lines of, like, how you'll hear funerals are for the living.
Yes, I've heard that.
The same goes for justice. I mean, anything you do is not going to bring those people back to life. Same
Right,
as,
just
like,
makes the people alive feel better.
exactly. And if we're going to make them feel better, then the best thing to do is to make sure that that person stops
Suffers.
doing whatever, not necessarily suffers. No, that ain't the point. I don't really care. I mean, I'm all right with, honestly, I think our definition of
What
cruel
they
and unusual
deserve.
punishment is too stupid nowadays. But I think that, whether it's, offing the person or making sure that they never, ever, ever see the outside of a prison ever again, then cool. Uh, I don't think parole should ever be an option for anybody that, like, straight up murdered somebody.
Yeah, regardless if it's 25 years, 30 years, 10 years, it don't matter. I would agree with that. That brings me to another topic. Well, not another topic, but you hear people committing multiple murders and they can receive consecutive life sentences for killing 5 people, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. So you basically killed one person and you got 4 for free, if you will, because you're not, your punishment is not any worse than taking your one life. So
Well,
how can
there's a
they,
few reasons behind that.
just to close the case,
Well,
probably?
no, it's not just to close the case, because, like, one, a lot of times when there's when they put them on a bunch of life sentences like that, I
Mhm.
got like 30 life sentences. They can't be just paroled. It's not as simple as just paroling that person ever, because say you parole them from that one conviction, you still have the 10
The other
others that
five,
you.
yeah.
All right, and then also the other thing is every now and then you get these assholes that get in office, and they're like, "Oh, our prisoners are poor, our poor prisoners. We
Let them pardon some.
and
Yeah.
they'll start to pardon them, or they'll start commuting sentences and things along those lines. And if they stack the sentences like that, so say even some sort of typographical error comes, and it's like, okay, pardon them for that murder. Well, you're not going to make the same typographical error for 40 of them. So
True.
it's a bit of it is a statement, as well as kind of a precautionary thing as well. I mean, it's
I get it, but I was thinking, well, you can't take more than their life, but you can take things away from them while they're alive until they are dead. So why not make their life until they're executed as hard as possible?
Cruel and unusual punishments in the
Eh,
Constitution.
I call it
Uh,
creative.
I mean, I understand the compulsion and the desire to want things to be that way. Um, I do think that us having a line to make sure that we're not like chopping people into pieces and letting them bleed out. That's cruel and unusual. The whole thing where people are like that, those lethal injection things, they feel it all. You mean
I
they
hope
felt
so.
themselves go to sleep and then die? Okay. I mean, I can get where they could have some concerns about the electric chair because the electric chair didn't always take everybody out on the first go.
Right, and
Um,
it's pretty cruel, not cruel for the person. It's kind of intense to watch.
yeah. They're doing, I'm trying to think of what state did it, but they're doing some of them are doing a new thing now where they basically, instead of like flooding, it's a kind of a gas chamber, but instead of flooding it with like a poisonous gas, it's more depriving it of oxygen and flooding it with like nitrogen, which is something that you'd breathe anyways, but you still go through like nitrogen narcosis and then you'd eventually pass out and die. Um, that one ain't so bad.
Sounds pretty.
There's honestly,
I
I
heard they're
don't,
bringing the firing squad back in some states.
well, Utah has it. And they get sharpshooters involved, and they all aim for like the same spot. Uh, I think here's one thing I'm wondering: why don't we use carbon monoxide? You know, people
You
just
just
sit
go
there
to
and
sleep,
people just die in their sleep all the time with that one.
turn
Like,
pink, and go to
why don't we
sleep.
just like go put you're going to die, whatever. What are your last words? Okay, and then you put them inside of a closed garage with a coupe de ville. Just let the
Or a
sucker
whole bunch of
ride.
dry ice. Yeah,
Well,
just slide it into their
dry
cell.
ice would be carbon dioxide, and carbon dioxide is poisoning is not pleasant at all.
Mm.
uh,
Oh
so
darn!
carbon monoxide though, they'll get a bit of a headache, then they'll fall asleep, and then they're dead. So
The end result's the same.
yeah, and it's cheap too. You just, like I said, you sit there and be like, "Hey, what kind of car do you want to die in?" And if you're really bad and you don't like them, you just put them in like some old
Electric
beat up
car.
Kia or something.
I choose an electric car. It'll never work.
Go do a Tesla. Yeah, just lock me in that garage with a Tesla. The batteries are dead. Does that mean I'm off the hook?
You hear about the firing squads that only one of the guns actually have the live round and the
Yeah, so you
rest are
don't know
blanks?
who actually killed them.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I think
I've
that's
always
pretty
wondered,
good.
do people apply to be an executioner?
I thought about that too. Like in that medieval days, like who gets to
Well, in the
be the
medieval
person wearing
days,
the
there was
hood?
actually that's why they had the hood, and it was more of a
They didn't
selection
want
thing.
people to know them. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sitting there thinking like along the lines of like they have to I think they have to have doctors do the lethal injection thing, which that goes against the whole do no harm thing. So that's kind of weird that they do that. But
yeah. Can make
I
sure you get the
mean, I
shot
just
right.
know that whenever I was having to do some job hunting a year ago, whenever I was on Indeed and LinkedIn, I never once saw something where I could apply to be an executioner.
Nobody's leaving those jobs.
I mean, I live in Texas. We killed 30% more people than pretty much any other place in the world. Well, not in the world, but definitely in the state,
There's
in
no
the
turnover
country.
there.
But
There's no turnover there.
yeah, it's like, come on, man. I can like turn a knob on an IV. It ain't hard.
I could jab a needle into your arm.
Well, I can't do that part. I'd be bad at
It
that
don't even have
part.
to be in the arm. You just put it anywhere. Stick it in
I've
their
heard
neck,
there's
in
been
their
situations where they've had to
feet.
put one off because they couldn't find a vein.
Who cares? Just stick
Like
it
you
right in their
have to get
stomach.
it in the vein to actually get the medicine circulating through all the places that it has to get to.
I know where
Because
a vein is. Right here. Right in the neck.
what they put in them is like this. It's a there's a cocktail of drugs in there. There's like one
It's like
that's
three different ones, yeah.
there's one that's supposed to make them sleep, and then the other ones are the ones that make their heart seize, and then the one that
Stop,
stops
yeah.
them from breathing. But Was this all of your example of children killers?
No, I have two more.
Okay, just making sure because I was like, that means that I couldn't guess which one we were talking about then.
No, you may guess the last one. He's probably the most famous one. But
Okay.
first, we're going to get to a common name of Evan Miller. He was at the age of 14 when he committed his murder. He only had one victim, but it was a pretty gruesome murder. Evan Miller and his friend Colby Smith had gone to rob Miller's neighbor, Mr. Cole Cannon. Upon returning Mr. Cannon's wallet, the old man woke up. Colby Smith proceeded to hit the man with a baseball bat. Evan Miller then brutally beat Mr. Cannon until his death. During his resentencing, during the trial, Judge Mark Craig read part of Miller's testimony about the night of the murder. He said Cole was standing over Cole Cannon. He says, "I am God. I've come to take your life." The judge refers to those words as chilling. Miller was sentenced to life without parole, making him the youngest person to serve a mandatory life sentence in Alabama.
Nice.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
he committed one murder. Yeah.
he deserves it for saying such a stupid, lame little edgelord thing. I am God.
Or off a video game or trying to be cool around his friend. But once again, the judge saw that he had a potential of committing murders again in the future. So best way to not let that happen is throw away the key.
Yeah, no, there's been an active effort to try to outlaw life sentences on minors, on juveniles,
Hmm.
because they're like they're not even given a chance. It's like they technically were. They were in society, and they killed somebody. Fuck them. Who cares? They.
I would agree. And now we
Oh wait,
bring it.
sorry. One more
Oh,
thing. If anybody that's in prison that hears this, and you get out and you're mad at us, this is all just a show, man. It's cool. You're a good dude, and if you got out, good on you. Good luck.
yeah.
Don't hurt me. That's all. That's what I had.
Last one, you may have heard of him. He is the youngest serial killer to date, at the age of 8 years old. His name is Amardeep Sada from India. He killed his 6 month old cousin, his 8 month old sister, and his 6 month old neighbor. And the reason he had to kill younger people was because of his small and frail stature. He was a very tiny kid, so he beat up on people that were smaller than him. Uh, he was caught he was caught hitting the neighbor's 6 month old with bricks and buried her also in a shallow grave.
You crumble that little shit up like a paper ball, and you throw his ass away.
Well, here's the thing: under India law, a child cannot be sentenced to death or sent to prison. He was actually he was sent to
Grounded.
a children's he was sent to the corner and gave a stern talking to. No, no, naughty.
No more chutney for you.
Was actually sent to a children's home until he turned 18, and then he was released in 2016, and his current whereabouts are unknown.
Well, all right. I will tell you this. There's a reason that whenever it comes to the true crime stuff that I watch and listen to, as well as even what I do for like this show, I tend to avoid things that are not in the United States. Now, Canada always seems to leak into the true crime stuff that I watch because honestly, Canadians that are all like, "Oh, America running around with their guns, bah, bah, bah." You know what? Y'all guys are no better. Your criminals are jacked up, and I don't want to hear your bullshit.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you don't even punish them. So when it comes to like something like a stupid ass law where like you got like an 8-year-old kid that sit there and murder 3 babies, I'm sorry, but at that point, you just call it a really late term abortion. You don't have to call it an execution. Just call it a really late term abortion, and you stab that little fucker with a coat hanger right in his heart.
Look at in their 15th trimester, and
Yes. If you want, I mean, you just call. I mean, it's you go to the doctor. You say got a really late term abortion,
here he
and
is.
you chop him into little pieces with the
Mhm.
thing, and you throw him in the hazmat. Check him for stem cells if you want. I don't care.
Yeah,
Um,
tied up tight.
yeah, that little shit that had no business walking away breathing. Because if somebody ever would have hurt my kids when they were babies, I don't care if that kid is 4 years old, but they're holding a brick over my 6 month old's head. That 4 year old's going to get punted out of window. And I don't care what floor I'm on. That kid's going to get punted out of window. Once I'm done checking on the 6 month old,
You're gonna go find your what you just kicked and kick it again.
yeah,
Like Gene Snitsky when he kicked that baby out of the ring.
and maybe shove it right back up into the mama because it wasn't done cooking yet. Because this thing's wrong. Get back up there.
Get back
It
up
ain't
in
done
there.
cooking.
Yeah, something's wrong with you. Well, that brings me to my last point of, do you think these kids were molded that way, or do you think they were just born with bad tendencies?
All right, that's a loaded question. All right, when it comes to nature versus nurture, I mean, this debate's been going on for thousands of years. Um, at least I assume it's been thousands. I don't know, but still, all right. I I stand where I stand on most things that are given like an either or choice. I think it's both. I mean, I think it's a little both. I think there are some people that are just born broken.
Absolutely.
I
Have
think
no
there are
kind of
some people
expressions. Yeah.
that were more of just kind of like normal, but then their situation broke them. Uh, yeah, I don't think it's a one or the other. I mean, you got serial killers that had great childhoods, and you have serial killers. It's like, oh my gosh, I hate that person, but seriously,
No
the people that
wonder.
did that to
Yeah.
him whenever he was little deserved to die. Um, but yeah, I'm definitely I think it's a little bit of both. I definitely don't think one more than the other. I think
I would
e-
have to agree. Yeah.
yeah,
A lot of it, like you said, some of it's born with. They're just evil from day one. I mean, you could just tell. You could look in their eyes, and you could just see evil from day one. And then there's others that are possibly neglected or pushed that way because of some sort of parental
or just
abuse,
taught it in general.
or you're taught it. Yeah, like hate is taught,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes you feel sorry for these kids and the way they're brought up and what happened to them, but there's really nothing you could do about it.
I honestly thought you were going to bring up the Jonesboro, Arkansas boys, uh, ones
The
that,
brothers.
well, they weren't brothers; they were just friends. But they shot up that school back then. They're both out on the streets with new names. I think one of them, even with his new name, he ended up getting popped and going back in, but for something. But yeah, it's just that was whenever you were talking about the anonymity thing. I thought you were going to go with Jonesboro because since those two were out running around and possibly still running around.
Yeah. So if you want to look up any of them, I suggest looking up the last one and just look at the kid's eyes and tell me that kid don't look freaking insane.
I I don't know. I can't do that. I refuse to judge. I refuse to judge a book by its cover because one, I tend to have resting bitch face, and I'm not. I'm a nice guy. Uh, and then I always remember like there's this lady I worked with, and she had the worst RBF ever. And she even had like that southern voice where it's like a little snappy like this. And I was so sure she was going to be just like a total and absolute bitch. And she was one of the sweetest, most wonderful people I ever worked with. She was so nice. She just had an unfortunate voice with an unfortunate tempo with it, and shook her head and hadn't looked all bitchy, but she was super nice.
I know a few of those people. Thank thing is, they were actually bitchy.
Well, I mean, even a broken clock is right twice a day, so
Yep. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed that deep dive into child murders. I hope that brought you tons of joy.
Jason, wait. All right, you know that I've been have the website does like an automatic transcript for this, so that's now in writing. That
Well,
you said, I hope you all enjoyed those child murders.
well, the reason I say that is my wife, she loves watching some sort of reality TV, and they usually really, really throw it off people. And I keep asking, I'm like, why do you watch this garbage? It's so bad. She's like, it makes me feel better about my own life. I'm like, okay, well, now you can feel better about your own children who don't clean their room, who get in trouble doing things. At least they're not out beating people with baseball bats.
And I would like to propose a counterpoint, because now I don't feel that way. I feel more like, who the hell is my son friends with? I don't want some psychopath kid hurting my son. And I'm sure all the other parents of small children out there are going to be all like, what kind of kids are around my kid? And then it's going to be like a big to do and riot among like all 9 or 10 of our listeners.
Hey, we have 17 subscribers.
Yeah, I know.
What?
Yeah, it's true. I keep saying 9 or 10, but it's been, the numbers are higher than that on some episodes.
Someday.
The
Someday
first
we'll get
episode
20.
had the most. I
Yeah, it's
guess
like
that was everybody just testing us out, see if they liked it. The second one that's had the most traffic is your Stanley Cup shenanigans.
yeah. We're getting better. Keep
Are
listening,
we?
people. The stories are getting better.
And
We're getting
please,
better.
please, please tell us you like us with ratings and
Yeah,
thumbs ups and all that.
takes 2 seconds.
It'll help us remember that we're just not talking to each other, because we could talk to each other without this stuff, but
Yeah, it
it
is
makes
my
it kind of
goal.
fun to know that people might be eavesdropping.
Yes, but it is my goal to do an ad for NordVPN.
Oh dear God! I disregard.
Everybody does it. Everybody
I know,
does it.
but
I want to
dude,
do one. I want to
that's
do one so bad.
all right. You're put the cart before the horse here. Let's have more than 17 subscribers
One day
someday.
we could look back on this when I'm doing my first NordVPN commercial, and we're like, "Told you,
They'll probably
I
be like,
told you."
yeah, I'm sorry. Can we have Darrell do it?
Yeah, the person who actually can talk correctly, let's have him
Uh,
do it.
I can't. No, I can't read right. But, all right. I think that's
That was
enough
fun.
shop talk.
Yeah, that was fun. We'll have to do it again next week.
Yeah.
Until then, that's it. Just until
No,
then.
God, will you stop that? Say it. Say your thing.
Question everything.
Not that thing. That's the wrong
Uh,
thing.
I don't have anything else to say.
All
Say,
right. Join us next week whenever it'll be my turn to host, and I'll
okay,
know what I'm
I can
doing, and I will tell you
give a
something
proper
make you
closing. Yeah.
I'll tell you something make you say, wait, what? Shut up. Bye.
Later.
You are listening to Waywut? This is a weekly rabbit hole podcast that goes into a variety of topics ranging from the supernatural to sports to science or anything else that we find interesting. We post episodes every Tuesday. We post on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Pandora. Please follow us on any of those. If you prefer video, you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you want to talk to us or keep up with any random information we decide to talk about, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever it's called, under @Waywut Podcast. That does it for all the self-promotion stuff. Thank you for listening, and here we